Hello everyone, my name is Vanessa and I am back to continue the reading of chapter 13, which is entitled Trumped, Rigged Elections, and Presidential Assassinations. And the book I am reading from is called Letters and Numbers. It is written by Zachary K. Hubbard. You can acquire a copy of this book by visiting his channels, Gematria Effect News, Gematria Effect Sports. Those are the two channels he has on YouTube. And yes, Gematria is the proper way to pronounce the word. I've been saying Gematria for so long, and I do prefer the name, but I mean the name Gematria, but I will be using the proper terminology, Gematria, from now on. I'm trying to be mindful of that. Also, in each of the videos that Zachary K. Hubbard produces, in the description box of each of those videos, he leaves a link for you to purchase the book. The book costs $5, the best $5 you will ever spend, because the information contained in this book you won't get anywhere else that has been made available to the public. And I encourage any of you that come across this channel to go and purchase this book and read this book. I'm reading it online for those who don't care for reading, and I'm hoping that by my reading the book it will prompt you to go and get this book, learn this information, understand the information, and share the information, and because it is that important. So one other thing, well, several other things. Zachary K. Hubbard left the copyright off this book because you're going to get this book in a PDF file format. Once you order it, it will come to you via email, and you save it to whichever device you're going to use for reading. But he left the copyright off, and you can take this book to a bindery, and have them bind it and have it bound into a book for your own personal library. You can upload it to lulu.com, and they will bind it into a book and mail it back to you. And having it in the electronic file format is great because there's over 700 pages in this book, and when you're looking for information, having it in the electronic file format makes it easier to search for information within the book. Zachary K. Hubbard also wrote a second book called Number Games, and if you visit his blog page called gematriaeffectnews.blogspot.com, that will be the first thing you will see when you arrive at that page is the advertising for the book. And as you scroll down, it gives you the instructions on how to purchase this book, also within the United States and abroad. And this book will come to you via the mail as a paperback book. But if you become a Patreon on Zachary K. Hubbard's channels, you can, for $1 a month at the $1 tier, you can become a Patreon, and you will have access to both his books, Letters and Numbers and Number Games, via PDF file format. And these books are phenomenal, and the information is mind-blowing and mind-boggling, but true nonetheless. This is something you don't have to believe if it happened or if it took place. You read the information, you understand the information, and it's just what is taking place. Gematria is the encoding of numbers into our letters. Our letters are in fact numbers. Every word we speak has a numerical value, and when you know the code, you know what's being done and how it's being orchestrated. This code has been in play since well before the United States of America was established. This code goes back to Babylon. This is something every human being on this planet should be aware of. And with that said, I am going to continue on with the reading of chapter 13, Trumped, Rigged Elections, and Presidential Assassinations. So, and here we go. The death of Warren G. Harding, August 2nd, 1923. Okay. Warren G. Harding dropped dead of a heart attack a span of 93 days before his 58th birthday, meaning he passed at age 57. a number connected to conspiracy, and the Scottish Rite. There it is again, number 93. Okay? And the word Warren G. Harding, the name, it equates to 57 in the septenary cipher. Of course, the number 93 connects to Saturn, the sixth planet from the sun, and Harding was the sixth president to die in office. The day of his passing was right for death as well, August 2nd, or 2/8, as the word kill has gematria of 28, reminding of the Challenger and Columbia missions. Wow. It was also a date with numerology of 52, connecting to the office of the president, and more, as we have learned, as well as Kabbalah and death. As we decode, don't forget the dark side of Kabbalah, which has to do with harming others. Of course, all of these deaths are no doubt part of this demonic portion of the knowledge. The word kill equates to 28 reversed reduction. The word death equates to 52 in reversed reduction. H counted as 10, E counted as 22. As for the date, 8/2/1923, 8 plus 2 plus 19 plus 23 equates to 52. And 8/2/23, 8 plus 2 plus 23 equates to 33. The name Warren G. Harding, what he is remembered as, also shares the gematria of 84. Warren G. Harding equates to 84 in the reduction cipher. I don't think we have to ask why he showcased the G, being in the land of Freemasonry. Speaking of which, the name also has ordinal gematria of 147, connecting to Freemason, conspiracy, and U.S. President. For the record, his full name was Warren Gamaliel Harding, and Gamaliel is spelled Gamaliel. Okay, Warren Gamaliel Harding, having reduction gematria of 110 and matching the ordinal gematria of president, which is also 110. If you take the time to decode Warren in all four base ciphers, it is a perfect match with murder across the board in all four gematria methods. If you decode Harding, you'll also see it has overlap with death and murder as well as president. Again, it makes one wonder if these presidential characters have been named accordingly all throughout history for the perfect script. It is entirely possible, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility, not by a long shot. Something else of interest is that Harding was the 29th president and was previously the 28th governor of Ohio. Ohio has reduction Ohio has reduction gematria of 29. He would be replaced by the 30th president, Calvin Coolidge, on Coolidge's 30th day of being 51 years old, having a July 4th, 1872 birthday. Consider that Saturn equates to 30 in reduction gematria when S is counted as 10, and his initials, CC, are similar to 33, matching the numerology of the date Harding passed. Again, a span of 93 days from his own birthday. It was a perfect alignment, just as it has always been throughout history. Let us now examine his name in the ALK Kabbalah cipher while recalling the relationship with the number 226 and the number 93. And the name John Calvin Coolidge Jr. equates to 226 in the septenary cipher. Coolidge would eventually die on January 5th, 1933. Emphasis on 33. And a date that can be written as 5/1, not unlike 51, the age he became president, and of course, the number connecting to federal and conspiracy. It should also be noted that both Calvin and Coolidge are names having reverse reduction gematria of 38, the number connecting with death, as well as the coordinates of DC, which is on the 38th parallel north. Let us not forget where we began this book, learning about Kabbalah, having gematria of 38 in both English and Hebrew. As we mentioned, Harding died on a date with numerology of 52, also corresponding with Kabbalah. Also worth mentioning, in the septenary cipher, Calvin Coolidge sums to 47, a number that is more presidential than any other in the land of the logo. The death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, April 12, 1945. Roosevelt was the 44th governor of New York, a fateful number, as we know, and he would die unexpectedly in the fourth state, Georgia, having reduction gematria of 44. He would die 22 years after Harding, who died 22 years after McKinley. Recall that the number 79, corresponding with murder, is the 22nd prime number. Roosevelt was also the 32nd president, a number representing America, and he died on the 102nd day of the year, April 12, 1945, a number corresponding with United States of America, as well as World War, which is what was concluding at the time of his passing. So, United States of America equates to 102 in reduction, S counted as 10. World War equates to 102 in reverse ordinal. The place where he passed, Warm Springs, Georgia, also had reduction gematria of 102. Equally as interesting, the town is located on the 33rd parallel north, and the president to replace Roosevelt was Harry S. Truman, who became the 33rd. Warm Springs, Georgia equates to 102 in reduction. Warm Springs equates to 58 reduction. Georgia equates to 44 in reduction. On the subject of the number 33, Roosevelt's last day in the White House was March 29, 1945, when he announced he was traveling to the Little White House in Warm Springs to receive treatment for his polio. The date of March 29, 1945 was one with numerology of 33, and it was also the 88th day of the year, a number corresponding with poison as well as arsenic poison. As we decode, recall that arsenic is the 33rd element on the periodic table. Now, as for the date 3/29/1945, you would add 3 plus 2 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 5, and that equates to 33. Arsenic poison equates to 88 in reduction. The word poison equates to 88 in ordinal. His cause of death was said to be an intracerebral hemorrhage, having gematria of 224. 224. Intracerebral hemorrhage having gematria of 224. The divisors of 84 equate to 224. And recall, the divisors of 44 equate to 84. As for the gematria of Little White House, where he died, it has reduction gematria of 76 and 86, which corresponds with the gematria of blood sacrifice. The name Harry S. Truman also has gematria of 76. Consider, the same man who replaced him, Truman, would order the atomic bombing of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, or 8/6. something we'll learn more about later. Little White House also sums to 211 in ordinal, what is the 47th prime, and 221 in reverse ordinal, a number we have become familiar with and showing up routinely in numerological deaths of the presidents and elsewhere. When Roosevelt died at the location, he was resting before the founding meeting for the United Nations, the Zionist government body that is very much fixated on the number 33 because it is controlled by Freemasonry. So, Little White House equates to 76 in reduction. Blood sacrificed equates to 76 reduction, S counted as 10. Harry S. Truman equates to 76 reverse reduction. Harry S. Truman, who replaced Roosevelt, was born May 8, 1884, a date that can be written 5/8, not unlike 58, the number corresponding with Freemasonry as well as Warm Springs. It was 26 days before his 61st birthday when he would attain the presidency, where the number 26 corresponds with POTUS, P-O-T-U-S, the acronym for President of the United States. And 61 connects to White House. Please recall how the number 26 connects to clock and watch, and 61 corresponds with time. Truman would die later in history at age 88, a number symbolizing time in multiple ways as covered, on December 26, 1972. His date of passing was one with numerology of 129, corresponding with the gematria of America, synagogue, and also Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Again, what goes around comes around. It's mathematics of the circle. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt equates to 129 reverse reduction. Consider it was also Harry S. Truman who wrote the op-ed for the Washington Post December 22, 1963, calling for the stripping of powers from the CIA, which he signed into being in 1947. That was after the assassination of JFK, the 8th president to die in office, and the last as of the time of the writing of this book. So, Harry S. Truman equates to 59 in reduction. John F. Kennedy equates to 59 in reduction. And the word kill equates to 59, Jewish gematria. The death of John F. Kennedy, November 22nd, 1963. Wow. As we have covered, JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, and has the infamous Zapruder film made about him, which was also composed by a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. As for the date, 11/22, it couldn't have been any more perfect for the face of the federal government to be knocked off, especially having the surname Kennedy. And the date 11/22 equates to 33 when you add them together. 11 plus 22. Okay, the word federal equates to 33 reduction. The word Kennedy equates to 33 in reduction. The location of his death, Dallas, also equates to 113 in reverse ordinal, similar to how Scottish sums to 113 in ordinal. As we know, the number 113 has to do with dishonesty, and ever since this date, the federal government has worked overtime to smear the truth community with labels such as conspiracy theorists, when in reality, the truth seeker is after conspiracy fact that the long-nosed tyrants and their minions who work for debt dollars do not want to be found. Unfortunately for them, their days of burying the truth are over, and they are exposed fully. The word Dallas equates to 113 reverse ordinal. His location of death, Dallas, was also corresponding with his name, gematria, summing to 49, similar to America and Washington, and again 227 is the 49th prime. John F. Kennedy equates to 49 reverse reduction. Dallas equates to 49 in ordinal. When Dallas, Texas is written out, it has gematria of 118 matching death. So Dallas, Texas equates to 118. The word death equates to 118 in the Jewish gematria. As mentioned earlier, when JFK was killed, it was the 187th year of the nation's existence, a very special number to Kabbalah and Washington, D.C. Of course, it is also a number associated with homicide. The tragedy is remembered as the JFK assassination. In ordinal gematria, the title sums to 187, and in Sumerian gematria, it totals 1122, similar to the date 1122, November 22nd. All right. Speaking of Kabbalah and Freemasonry, let us examine the date numerology of the assassination in thorough details, as it reveals much about the responsible parties. So, the date 11/22/1963, you would add 11 plus 22 plus 19 plus 63 equates to 115. 11/22/1963, you would add 11 plus 22 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 equates to 52. 11/22/1963, you would add 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 19 plus 63 equates to 88. 11/22/1963, you would add 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3, that equates to 25. 11/22/63, you would add 11 plus 22 plus 63 equates to 96. And Dealey Plaza sits on the 96th meridian west. 11/22, you add 11 plus 22, it equates to 33. And Dealey Plaza is in close proximity to the 33rd parallel north. Beginning with the number 115, it connects to the following. Assassin equates to 115, reverse ordinal. Killing equates to 115, reverse ordinal. Killing equates to 115, Jewish gematria. Freemasons equate to 115 in ordinal. Masonic equates to 115, reverse ordinal. As we know, the number 52 connects to Kabbalah, the Cabal, Tree of Life, gematria, death, president, White House, government, and authority. Regarding the number 88, it represents time. As for the number 25, it also connects to time and death, as we have covered. Ahead, we'll also connect those two numbers to Donald Trump, who has a number of predicted programming incidents already having occurred that foreshadow a fateful end. The number 96 symbolizes Freemason, the singular, and the number 33 goes without explaining. Thus, the date was ripe. Speaking of predictive programming, on Christmas Day of 1961, recall Christmas sums to 61, as well as a list of other words relevant to Christianity, and it also corresponds with time. Okay, so speaking of predictive programming, on Christmas Day of 1961, the Andy Griffith Show debuted an episode of a bootlegging family being busted at the address 411 Elm Street. As you might know, The Kennedys were a bootlegging family once upon a time. And as you might also know, the fatal shot that killed JFK was said to have come from the address 411 Elm Street. Let me show you what makes 411 special. So, the word Christmas equates to 411 in Jewish gematria. Assassin equates to 411 Jewish gematria. Freemason equates to 411 in Satanic gematria, or the Satanic cipher. Assassin equates to 61 reverse reduction cipher. Before I show you what's funny about the name Andy Griffith Show, first know that Obama was born August 4th, 1961, a span of 144 days earlier, and would eventually become the 44th president, whereas JFK was the 44th term president. So, John F. Kennedy equates to 193, which is the 44th prime number. Okay, as we know, 44, written as a word, has gematria of 144 and is a number symbolizing time and being connected to killing, pairing well with the 61 sitcom debut. JFK would also die on the first day of Sagittarius, having ordinal gematria of 144, not unlike how his brother RFK died by the numbers at 1:44 a.m. on June 6, 1968. With those points understood, let us now decode the name of the TV program, which was doing some serious forecasting on that special day of the calendar year. As you'll see, it had gematria of 93, the number of Saturn, the keeper of time. The number of Saturn, the keeper of time. Andy Griffith Show equates to 93 in reduction cipher. Don't forget, Christmas Day is the birthday of the solar man, also summing to 93, and takes place in the time of Capricorn, which is ruled over by Saturn. In the chapter having to do with Christianity, we learned the relevance of the number 93 in regards to God's Son, the crucifix, and more. Thus, the Christmas Day TV episode was foreshadowing the coming crucifixion of Kennedy, a name having gematria of 33, reminiscent of Jesus being killed at the respective age. Speaking of Jesus Christ, there is another parallel between he and John F. Kennedy in name gematria. Jesus Christ equates to 59 in the septenary cipher. John F. Kennedy equates to 59 in the reduction cipher. Recall, the number 59 connects to kill, and it also connects to the name Jason, the killer that is associated with the horror movies that has a parallel to Nightmare on Elm Street. Don't forget, 59 is the 17th prime either, and kill also has reduction gematria of 17. So, kill equates to 59 Jewish gematria. Jason equates to 59 in ordinal. Keep in mind, the number 153 is the 17th triangular number, and Jesuit order has gematria of 153, the very biblical number corresponding with Jesus. Jesuit order equates to 153 in reverse ordinal. On the subject of the number 59, let us take a moment to read a relevant verse from the Talmud. For the record, Talmudic equates to 52, the Kabbalah number. So, Sanhedrin 59a. To communicate anything to a goy about our religious relations would be equal to the killing of all Jews. For if the goyim knew what we teach about them, they would kill us openly. So the word goy and goyim are derogatory terms for Gentile. Okay? Goy is Gentile when they are truly the goyim themselves. Absolutely. It's crazy. Keep in mind that the 9th of Av, or the 9th day of the 5th month of the Jewish calendar, which can be expressed as 5/9, is the same day in history the Jewish temples were killed. It is a reminder that the code is not arbitrary, but has basis in history from this world. Oh my goodness. For a moment, let us revisit the Andy Griffith Show. If we add "the" to the front of the TV show title, thus The Andy Griffith Show, it equates with Dealey Plaza, where JFK was killed. The equating number is 108, the number of geometry, and the number having much to do with the distance of the sun from Earth, as we have covered. Again, the sun, S-U-N, symbolizes time as well as Jesus Christ, and JFK also has a major parallel with the sun, S-U-N, just as well, just ahead. Okay, the Andy Griffith Show equates to 108 in reduction. The Andy Griffith Show equates to 108 in the reduction cipher, E counted as 22. Dealey Plaza equates to 108 in the ordinal cipher. Jesuit order equates to 108 reverse reduction, E counted as 22. I should also mention it was 99 weeks and a few days from the sitcom debut to the assassination of Kennedy. Don't forget how 13, the word, okay, the number written out as a word. Don't forget how 13 connects to 99 and JC to 13. Dealey Plaza equates to 99 reverse reduction, P counted as 11, E counted as 22. As for the parallel to the sun, first recall what we learned in chapter 7 about the 189 references to gold and how the sun symbolizes gold in Hermeticism and alchemy. Try not to let your mind wander to the same lessons on the bobbits from chapter 7, because then you might start hurting in the shorts like I am right now. That's funny, Zach. Dealey Plaza equates to 189 reverse ordinal. Freemasonic equates to 189 reverse ordinal. Scottish Rite equates to 189 ALK Kabbalah. You'll recall reincarnate has gematria of 189 and 54. 189 and 54, where the sun reincarnates. You'll also recall resurrection has gematria of 189. In this case, JFK died 189 days before his 47th birthday, and 54 factors in as follows. JFK equates to 54 reverse ordinal. Sun, S-U-N, equates to 54 in ordinal. Dealey Plaza equates to 54 reverse reduction. Jesuit order equates to 54 in reduction. Jesuit order equates to 54 in the septenary cipher, and Elm Street equates to 54 reverse reduction. Some truth seekers contend that the man who played the part of Jimmy Carter, who represented the fourth state, Georgia, having gematria of 44, and being the central figure in the 444th day Iranian hostage crisis hoax, is the same actor who played John F. Kennedy, with a little face surgery and a little aging. I cannot tell you if this rumor is true or not, but it is one worth considering. before you say, but their voices sound so much different. Consider surgery can change that as well. And good actors can also speak in many variations. What adds intrigue to the theory is the gematria of Jimmy Carter and his birth numerology, being born October 1st, 1924, a date that can be written as 1/10, like 110 for president, or 10/1, like 101 for assassin. It's also a date with numerology of 54. Take a moment to look at their facial features and form your own opinion. I'll be the first to admit this, though he said, I'll be the first to admit this thought is a conspiracy theory, which is something I tend to shy away from, but at the same time, this is one that personally intrigues me. Absolutely. So, Jimmy Carter equates to 54 in reduction, and the date 10/1/1924 equates to 54 when you add the dates 10 plus 1 plus 19 plus 24. That equates to 54. From Carter's 39th birthday to the date of the shooting was 52 days. Recall, the date of the shooting had numerology of 52 as covered and was the day leaving 39 days left in the Gregorian calendar year. Consider further, Carter would become the 39th president, and president has gematria of 52. As we'll get to, JFK died 177 days after his 46th birthday, and Jimmy Carter's full name is James Earl Carter Jr., having gematria of 177 in the ordinal cipher. Okay. On the subject of 54, it is no coincidence that 54 years after his death in 2017, the media began paralleling Donald Trump to JFK, beginning on Inauguration Day when his wife that came gift wrapped in a box wore baby blue, the first wife of the president to do so since Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. In gematria terms, baby blue sums to 25, a number of death, and corresponding with Trump as well. I should also add that Pence, the name of the VP, sums to 25, as does time, and on March 7, 2017, Time magazine wrote about how Trump could be removed from office early, possibly through the 25th Amendment, which only requires the Vice President and Congress to vote in favor of removing the president, something that has never been done in history to date. So the word baby blue equates to 25 reverse reduction. Time equates to 25 reverse reduction. Trump equates to 25 reduction, and Pence equates to 25 in reduction. And before I read about this headline, I'm going to show you the headline. You can also see the decoding of baby blue, time, and Trump and Pence. But I'm going to be reading in the next part about how Congress can remove Donald Trump from office without impeaching him. And you can look at the numbers on how to decode baby blue and Trump. Alrighty. Excuse me. Okay. Put that under there. Notice the date numerology of the article. March 7, 2017, which is 3 plus 7 plus 20 plus 17, summing to 47, the same as Trump and time. The code reveals all the mocking. Okay, now I'm going to read this article real quick. Congress can remove Donald Trump from office without impeaching him. Presidential psychology is quickly becoming a bipartisan issue. Recently, Senator Al Franken said that he and several of his GOP colleagues shared the opinion that President Donald Trump is not right mentally. Shortly thereafter, 35 mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers took to the pages of the New York Times to register their own concerns that the president was demonstrating grave emotional instability. Wow. Some of the reporting from that same Time article is to the left, which I just read. You'll notice they used the comedian Al Franken as a feature in the article. You'll also notice the use of the number 35, reminding of JFK, number 35. The point is, in multiple ways, the end of Trump is being foretold. For another riddle before us is the Berlin Wall. Very quickly, let us revisit the gematria of Berlin Wall, as well as Dealey Plaza, in light of Trump being selected on the 27-year anniversary of the fall of the wall, and it being one of the last sites JFK spoke at before his premature exit from the President of the United States. As we decode, don't forget that geometry and gematrio has they both equate to 45. Geometry and gematrio, G-E-M-A-T-R-I-O-T, which is the plural pronunciation of gematria. So you would have gematrio. So geometry and gematrio both equate to 45. Wow. So moving right along. Berlin Wall equates to 45 in reduction. Dealey Plaza equates to 45 in reduction as well. Recall, JFK was the 8th president to die in office, and the next will be the 9th. And the next will be the 9th. When you add 1 through 9 together, it totals 45. And the I'm sorry, let me start that over, because that is just mind-boggling, because you don't know what's going to happen from time to time, but this code does indeed give you clues to what's coming. So recall, JFK was the 8th president to die in office, and the next will be the 9th. Okay, when you add 1 through 9 together, it totals 45, and the number 45 breaks down to 9 in numerology terms. Also, going back to that CERTA ad from 2010, Donald Trump's final words spoken for that spot are, "Looking good, number 9, looking good." He says that to the sheet with the number 9 on its side standing on a pillar. Let us now examine how CERTA corresponds with Berlin Wall, as well as Jesuit order and even Freemason. The word CERTA equates to 63 in ordinal. And the commercial was done in 2016. The commercial was done in 2010. Donald Trump must have been elected in 2016. Well, I'll leave that be for right now. But anywho, the CERTA is the ad. The CERTA ad is from 2010. But anyway, CERTA equates to 63 in ordinal. 2016, the ordinal is the 63rd triangular number. Okay, 2016. That number 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. Berlin Wall equates to 63, reverse reduction. Jesuit order equates to 63, in the reduction cipher, S counted as 10. Freemason equates to 307 in Jewish gematria. 307 is the 63rd prime number. Okay. In regards to the Berlin Wall, Construction on the structure began August 13, 1961. It would be precisely 831 days later that JFK would be killed. Notice the date construction began can be written as 13/8, a lot like 138, which is the reflection of 831. Again, in this study, numbers that are reflections of each other are seen as equals. At the same time, let us not forget that Federal has gematria of 138, same as Donald Trump. Adding to the mocking, while Trump was on the campaign trail, he had a meeting with the President of Mexico about his proposed wall, and the date was August 31, 2016. A date that can be written 8/31. So that's where your 2016 comes in at. He was on the campaign trail in 2016. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start over really quickly here. Adding to the mocking, while Trump was on the campaign trail, he had a meeting with the President of Mexico about his proposed wall, and the date was August 31st, 2016, a date that can be written as 8/31, 831, which should look familiar, absolutely. As I was asking then, why is a sitting president meeting with a man running for president about his proposed wall? Of course, it was one of many signs the selection was all but over. You can likely recall in those days we didn't even hardly hear about the actual U.S. president, who was Obama. The media was a 24/7, 365 circus focused on the Donald. I should also note that Trump's meeting in Mexico was 69 days before November 8th, 2016 Selection Day, and Mexico has ordinal gematria of 69, as well as reverse ordinal gematria of 93, corresponding with Saturn. My goodness. It was also 70 days before the 70-year-old took office on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall's fall, which means it was 88 days from the August 13th anniversary of the construction start of the wall, a number corresponding with Trump in a big way. On the subject of the alignment with 70, I should mention Vatican equates to 70 in ordinal. Another point about JFK and the Berlin Wall is he gave one of his most awkward speeches there on June 26, 1963, a date with numerology of 33, matching the gematria of Kennedy and Berlin, and a date that has 100 and a date that was 149 days before his assassination. Wow. The number 149 is fascinating for three reasons. One, JFK was born May 29th, the 149th day of the year. Two, when you write out Revelation, it sums to 49 and 149, just the same as when you write out 66, where Revelation is the 66th book of most Bibles. Consider further that JFK died in Dallas, having ordinal gematria of 49, similar to how Washington equates to 49 in reduction. To the tyrants who script history by the numbers, Revelation is very much seen as a playbook, most likely because it has to do with death and destruction. You'll recall Revelation is 22 chapters, and in the case of JFK's speech, it came 22 months after the Berlin Wall was erected. Third, Zapruder film, which captures his death, has gematria of 149 in ordinal format. Wow, more on the film ahead. The title of the speech he gave that day, and I'm going to show you the title of that speech because I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher the name, and I have it highlighted right there. Okay. So, the title of the speech he gave that day is remembered as Ich bin ein Berliner, which has gematria worth writing home about. For starters, in the septenary cipher, it sums to the number 63, corresponding with the year of his death, his location of death, and the Jesuit order who is responsible for his death. So, Ich bin ein Berliner equates to 63 septenary cipher, and he has the coding there, and as I held the page up, you should have seen, the numbers that correspond with the letters. Regarding the Jesuits, the name of the speech also sums to 303, a big number to the fraternity that shows up again and again in history. From buildings constructed, to historical happenings, to rigged sports games. In case you have never noticed, there are a lot of very good Jesuit sports programs, and the Jesuits are interested in controlling the mind's eye of the masses, which is something sports do better than anything else. All right. The man who established the Jesuits, St. Ignatius of Loyola, is a title having the same gematria of 303. If you want to have a field day, run the title through gematrinator.com. Absolutely. So, St. Ignatius of Loyola equates to 303 in reverse ordinal, as he mentioned. Okay, regarding the Jesuits and 303, for another example of the relevance of the number, the first structure built in their honor in the United States is now named Basilica of the National Shrine of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, having reduction gematria of 303. You'll see it time and time again in sports, such things as QBs passing for 303 yards 303 days from their birthday. This happened recently with Tom Brady, who is a Jesuit, on the date of October 5th, 2017, where the final score was 19-14, a sum of 33 points, handing the opposing QB, Winston, his 19th career loss. Not coincidentally, the names Winston and Tom have gematria of 33, not too far off from 303, and at the same time, Massachusetts also equates to 33, where Tom plays football. On the subject, I should add that in satanic gematria, NFL sums to 137, the 33rd prime, and the shape of the football is a mandorla, an important symbol to the Catholic Church. The CC, the 33, having gematria of 33 as well. In case you missed it, before Super Bowl 51, which Tom Brady won over the Falcons, a team owned by Arthur Blank, a man with the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27, and a team sporting red and black, the colors of the Jesuits, as well as playing in a city, Atlanta, on the 33rd parallel north and the 84th meridian west. The Pope blessed the game, and not coincidentally, Super Bowl 51 was played a span of 51 days from the Pope's birthday. We'll cover it all and more ahead in the chapter on the subject. It will be a doozy. Coming back to the date of JFK's memorable speech in Berlin, it was also a date with numerology of 95. And as you learned, the Jesuit order's birthday is the day that leaves 95 days left in the year, a number corresponding with the title Son of God. As covered, JFK had Jesus Christ parallels, and throughout history, the tyrants at the top have loved to symbolize the killing of Christ in their very evil rituals. So, the date 6/26/63, when added together, 6 plus 26 plus 63 equates to 95. 6/26/1963, you add 6 plus 26 plus 19 plus 63 equates to 115. Son of God, S-O-N, of God equates to 95 in ordinal. When JFK died, he was 177 days past his 46th birthday, and it is interesting to note that New World Order sums to 177 in reverse ordinal, and the Jesuit order sums to 177 in ordinal gematria. The number 177 is important because the number 17 is the seventh prime number, and because when you multiply 17 times 7, it equates to the infamous number 119. Connecting to the number 119 is Vatican, what is the heart of the NWO, where JFK's wife had a very peculiar 33-minute meeting with the Pope, and where JFK also met with the face of the church on July 2nd, 1963, 143 days before his death, or a span of 144 days. Familiar numbers you should know by this point. Regarding July 2nd, consider JFK equals 27 in ordinal, and Jesuit order sums to 72 in reverse reduction. And don't forget, Pope and NWO both sum to 52, like the numerology of the date of his death. Wow. So Vatican equates to 119 in reverse ordinal. The word Francis equates to 119 reverse ordinal. As for the 33-minute meeting with the Pope and the wife of the 35th president, it took place on March 11, 1962, a date with numerology of 95. That date has a span of 257 days before the killing. The date was a span of 257 days before the killing of JFK, a number that is interesting for two reasons. For starters, the phrase blood sacrifice sums to the number 257 in gematria. 2. The number 257 is the 55th prime, and sacrifice alone has gematria of 55, as does Satan. Understand, that is what the Vatican is, the home of Satan. They might claim to be about Jesus, but Jesus wasn't about luxury and building palaces adorned in jewelry. If you're not aware, the same false Jews created the Catholic Church and are the antagonists of this world. Don't overlook the word jewelry begins with Jew. So, blood sacrifice equates to 257. The word sacrifice equates to 55. Reduction S counted as 10. 257 is the 55th prime number. Wow. Of course, Italy was a fitting place to discuss a blood sacrifice, having reduction gematria of 67 as covered. Recall further that in ordinal gematria, Italy sums to 67, same as satanic. Italy sums to 67, same as satanic. Even more, The date March 11 can be written as 11/3, similar to 113, or 311, 3/11, similar to 311. In Jewish gematria, the beast equates to 311 as well. In reduction gematria, the letter U breaks down to 3. Because U is the 21st letter, you would add 2 plus 1, that gives you 3. S breaks down to 1 because S, I believe, is the 19th letter, and 9 plus 1 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. And A is the first letter. Thus, USA equates to 311. And more important than that, the name John Fitzgerald Kennedy in Francis Bacon gematria also equates to 311. Speaking of Francis Bacon, it reminds of the death of King James. Okay, speaking of Francis Bacon, it reminds of the death of King James. First recall, King James, ritual sacrifice, and Scottish rite of Freemasonry all sum to 154. As you might guess, so does the name John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who was sacrificed in the middle of the site named after another Scottish Rite Freemason. So John Fitzgerald Kennedy equates to 154, reverse reduction, E counted as 22. As for the ritualistic killers, the Jesuits found within the Vatican and elsewhere, the name of the president's wife also fit the bill, having septenary gematria of 84. I should also mention that in LCH Kabbalah, her name sums to 322, a number of the Masonic killing order Skull and Bones, which we'll learn more about later. At the same time, don't forget, Masonry shares the gematria of 84 along with Jesuit. So, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis equates to 84 septenary cipher. In total, as perfect as it all is, it makes one wonder yet again if these people have really even died. If you're saying, but Zach, what about the Zapruder film that shows JFK's head explode in the 313th slide? I have a possible answer. First, no one could make out anything in the film until the 1990s, when a less grainy offering was put out to the public. Second, movies of killing are made all the time, and they can look very realistic even though they are not. Third, let us decode the title Zapruder film. In reduction gematria, Zapruder sums to 44, same as kill, and corresponding with JFK's term number. In septenary, Zapruder film also equates to 44. In reverse reduction, Zapruder sums to 46, same as Catholic, and Kennedy's age, and the word sacrifice in reduction. So, okay, I misread that. So let me see. In septenary, Zapruder film it also equates to 44. In reverse reduction, Zapruder sums to 46, same as Catholic, Kennedy's age, and the word sacrifice in reduction. Okay. In reverse reduction, Zapruder equates to 71 when P is 11 and E is 22, which is similar to how Catholic sums to 71 in ordinal, corresponding with JFK being the 35th president and the only Catholic, where the name of the religion sums to 35 in reduction as well. The name Zapruder film also has reduction gematria of 68 and reverse reduction gematria of 67, numbers that are no stranger to death. In Chaldean, the name Zapruder film equates to 51 as well, the number of federal and conspiracy. In other words, the film was named perfectly, but that isn't all. If you write out the Zapruder film, it sums to 223 in reverse ordinal. Related, later in history, JFK's driver that day, Greer, Greer, would die February 23, 1985, and Greer equates to 35 in reduction. Wow. The full title, The Zapruder film, also has gematria of 79 and 83, corresponding with murder. If you use the gematria calculator at gematrinator.com, you'll see that John Fitzgerald Kennedy also equates to 83 in the Chaldean format. Again, because it cannot be emphasized enough, the alignment really is too perfect, and it goes to show that the name of the film is no coincidence. Consider further that beyond being a Freemason, Abraham Zapruder, the creator of the film, was a Russian Jew from the same part of the world as the Berlin Wall, and where Lee Harvey Oswald, the patsy, had just returned to the United States from. Zapruder was said to have been born May 15, 1905, making him 58 years old at the time of the assassination. Let me show you what stands out about his name and his date of birth, keeping in mind that Abraham has gematria of 44 and 46 as covered. You'll notice it sums to 153 in ordinal, the same as Jesuit order in reverse ordinal. Amazing. The name also has Chaldean gematria of The name also has Chaldean gematria of 51, connecting to conspiracy, and septenary gematria of 47, syncing with the degrees of the compasses on the Freemason logo. As for his date of birth, the numerology equates to 44 as shown ahead. As we have learned, the name of his film shares this gematria in more ways than one, and so does his name Abraham, which couldn't be any more aligned with the killing of the 44th term president on the first day of Sagittarius. Consider that the date can also be written as 15/5, not unlike 155, which corresponds with the gematria of Freemasons. Okay, so the date 5/15/1905 has a date numerology of 44. When you add 5 plus 15 plus 19 plus 5, that equates to 44. The word kill equates to 44 in ordinal. The word shooting equates to 44 in reduction. Zapruder would die August 30th, 1960. That's not correct. Let me see, because when was Kennedy killed? In 63. So Zapruder. Okay, let me look up Zapruder really quickly to see when he died. Give me 1 second here. Come on. Okay, he died, Abraham Zapruder, he actually died August 30th, 1970. And I know Zach had to do a lot of work by himself. So, hey, kudos to you still, Zach. It's totally fine. So, Zapruder would die August 30th, 1970 at the age of 65, which is fascinating because the number 313 is the 65th prime, and it is slide number 313 that shows JFK's head impacted by the magic bullet in this film. August 30th is also the day, leaving 123 days left in the year, the number corresponding with the gematria of conspiracy. His date of passing was 107 days after his birthday, where the name John Fitzgerald Kennedy equates to 107 in reduction gematria, which is the 28th prime number. And as we have learned, the number 28 represents kill. Recall the Challenger and Columbia explosions of NASA. Speaking of which, it reminds that JFK gave the speech about putting a man on the moon. That was May 25th, 1961. The perfect date for news by the numbers. Wow. So, 52561, when you add 5 plus 25 plus 61, it equates to 91. Space equates to 91 in reverse ordinal. 525 1961, we have 5 plus 25 plus 19 plus 61 equates to 110, and president equates to 110 in ordinal. It was also a span of 108 days from Zapruder's last birthday to his death, corresponding with geometry and Dealey Plaza. Again, what goes around comes around. On the subject, let's examine the life and death of the man blamed for the killing, Lee Harvey Oswald, who we learned a few things about when we were discussing the parallels between he and John Wilkes Booth. We'll begin with a parallel between Lee Harvey Oswald and the Zapruder film. So, Zapruder film equates to 175 reverse ordinal. Lee Harvey Oswald equates to 175 in ordinal. My goodness. You probably recall Flight 175 on September 11, 2001. We'll cover the greater significance of this number then. For now, let's focus on the last name Oswald, which corresponds with his date of birth, October 18th, 1939, a date coming 35 days before the assassination of the 35th president. October 18th is also the day, leaving 74 days left in the year, the number corresponding with the gematria of killing and Masonic. The name Oswald also has ordinal gematria of 74. Even more, Lee has reverse ordinal gematria of 59, connecting to kill and John F. Kennedy. The name Harvey corresponds with murder in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers, and Oswald connects to murder as well as killing. I'll let you plug and play at gematrinator.com to find out the other standout numbers that correspond with the date numerology of the death, as well as the location Dallas. The name is thoroughly coded. Absolutely. Speaking of Dallas, we learned earlier that Dallas, Texas, Psalms 2118, matching the gematria of death. Please think for a moment about how October 18th, 10/18 isn't too far off in terms of the numerals in the date. And on the subject of death, Oswald would die on his 38th day of being 24 years old. 42 in reverse. November 24th, 1963. That also happened to be a date with a life lesson number of 54 as follows. 11/24/1963. So you would add 11 plus 24 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 equates to 54. JFK equals 54. Dealey Plaza equals 54, as well as Jesuit order equals 54. As for Lyndon B. Johnson, the man who became the 36th president. The assassination and the moving up in rank took place on his 88th day of being 55 years old. Recall how the number 55 connects to sacrifice and the distance in days with JFK's wife and the Pope, March 11, 1962. As for the number 88, it connects to the numerology of the assassination date as covered and, of course, time. Johnson's birthday was August 27, which is the 239th day of the year, the 52nd prime number, a date of birth fitting for a president and also connecting to the numerology of the date of assassination for JFK. Worse yet, his full name in septenary sums to 54, arguably the biggest number on the event. And in reverse reduction, it equates to 113 like Dallas. So, Lyndon Baines Johnson equates to 54 in septenary, and Lyndon Baines Johnson equates to 113 reverse reduction, E counted as 22. Precisely 223 days after the killing of Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson would sign the Civil Rights Act of 1964 at the midway point of the calendar year, July 2nd, 1964. We know about 223, representing the synagogue of Satan, and 64 representing synagogue of Satan. Let me now show you why this president signing in this year was another prime example of news by the numbers. Again, it always is, even when it comes to empty racial symbolism, which is what the 64 Act was. Ask minorities, they'll tell you that that act never did anything positive for them, and it hasn't. These blind bastards. That's where we live, the land of empty symbolism, which is why we need to end it. Absolutely, Zach. Abso-freaking-lutely. Lyndon B. Johnson equates to 64 in reduction. Civil rights equates to 64 in reduction. Consider the first black president with the puppet name assigned number 44 would be selected 44 years after the signing of the 64 Act. They called him Barry. Barack Hussein Obama equates to 64. Barry equates to 64. As explained, it has been a puppet show by the numbers since George Washington, and really even before that, all the way up to the present. Consider in 2011 when Donald Trump was introducing the birther argument, the argument Obama was born outside of the United States. That was the same year of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, April 30th, where Obama joked that Donald Trump, who was in attendance, would be the 45th president of the United States. The joke came complete with a short video of the White House lit up like a casino with neon lights reading Trump. As we know, that was more than a joke, and the date was appropriate for the humor, because 4, 3, 11, when you add 4 plus 30 plus 11, it equals 45. Like Donald Trump is number 45. While we're at it, let's decode the word birther. Seeing as how Obama was number 44, but Trump is truly the 44th person to be president, and while we're at it, Melania too. Birther equates to 44. Melania equates to 44. And for birther, 44 in reduction. Melania, 44 reverse reduction. At that same dinner, which is meant to be a comedic evening, Wow. Obama showed a video of the Lion King, claiming that the birth of Simba was truly he, and it was a fact. He was from Africa, while many were claiming he was born in Hawaii, Kenya instead of Hawaii. In the Disney film scene where the Lion Club, let me read this all over because I messed it up and I do not want to start over again. Look at 1:19, 1 hour 19 minutes. 1:19, isn't that amazing? Man. At that same dinner, which is meant to be a comedic evening, Obama showed a video of the Lion King, claiming that the birth of Simba was truly he, and it was a fact. He was from Africa, while many were claiming he was born in Hawaii, Kenya instead of Hawaii. In the Disney film scene where the lion cub enters into the world, the date was added to the screen, August 4th, 1961, which is Obama's real birthday, so they say, anywho. Now, let's go. The Lion King equates to 61 in reduction. White House equates to 61 in reduction, S counted as 10. The Lion King equates to 56, reverse reduction. President equates to 56, reduction, S counted as 10. The Lion King equates to 44 in the septenary cipher. Simba equates to 44 in the ordinal cipher. Following the pattern of 44, on February 25, 2017, Donald Trump would announce he would not be attending the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which happened to be the 103-year anniversary of the establishment of the event. It was also a date with numerology of 44 and 64, corresponding with the name gematria of Barack Hussein Obama, as well as Obama being number 44 and Trump truly being the 44th person to be president. Again, the patterns always persist and the narratives are a chain. Absolutely. So here's another news article here that I'm going to read, and then I'll continue with the other reading. 44 years after JFK's death, new assassination plot revealed. A former Secret Service agent has told WLS-TV there was a plot to kill President Kennedy in Chicago 3 weeks before he was assassinated in Dallas. Kennedy was murdered on November 22, 1963. Today is the 44th anniversary of JFK's assassination. Wow, these suckers are no good. So this is from, looks like, I want to say November 22nd, 2007. So I'm sure Zach should have it over here in the reading. Okay, as you now understand, the jokes were numerological in their orientation, as they always are. For another joke from the same time period when Obama was on the verge of becoming the 44th president, there was this headline to the left from ABC News, shown to the unknowing eyes of many Americans on the 44th anniversary of the killing of JFK. Notice the story was out of Chicago, the city that would put the 44th president less than a year later. Okay, who would put in the 44th president less than a year later. If only people had known the symbolism then of the number 44 and what it had to do with JFK's death. I told my followers in 2013, don't be surprised if they knock off Obama as a tribute to the killing of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., who were both murdered by the 44 Code. But as I pointed out, he was really only the 43rd person to be president. So it could be the next president in office to catch the next magic bullet. With that thought in mind, let us revisit some important headlines surrounding Donald Trump from the campaign trail and since he took office, foreshadowing an untimely exit. We'll begin with the Trump tombstone headline from the 88th day of 2016, March 28, not forgetting the gematria of Trump, which is 88. Now let us decode Trump tombstone to see how it factors into him being the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. Also, be sure to catch the post time of 10:33, not far off from 1:33. The media loves to do that because they know tombstone equates to 50. Because they know. I'm sorry. Okay, let me reread that. Also, be sure to catch the post time of 10:33, not far off from 1:33. The media loves to do that because they know the code. Trump tombstone equates to 58 in reduction. Tomb equals 58 reversed ordinal. Okay. Now, the tombstone showed the name Trump in all caps, his year of birth 1946, and the caption Made America Hate Again, which had reduction gematria of 85, the reflection of 58. The phrase also had ordinal gematria of 139, corresponding with Freemasonry, America, and more. I should also mention that the location of the object, Central Park, in the ALW Kabbalah cipher equates to 139. As for Trump in all caps in Francis Bacon gematria, it sums to 218, a number of death. Keeping in mind when Trump was announced the winner early November 9th, he was leading by 58 votes, 276 to 218. Wow. So Trump equates to 218 in Francis Bacon, and the word death equals 218 English extended. The word tombstone also has second, third, and fourth parallels to Donald Trump, the U.S. president, as follows. Okay, tombstone equates to 33 in reduction. The word drumph, D-R-U-M-P-H, equates to 33 in reduction. Tombstone equates to 33 septenary. Tombstone equates to 48 reverse reduction. Donald Trump equates to 48 in reduction. Tombstone equates to 147 ALK Kabbalah. It's important to note that despite the story coming on March 28, the tombstone was reportedly placed in New York's Central Park on Easter Sunday, March 27, 2016, a date with numerology of 46, coinciding with his year of birth, 46, and the word sacrifice, which Jesus Christ was, and which is what Easter is to remember, as well as the resurrection of Jesus. Please recall the 888 parallel between Jesus and Donald Trump for a moment. But don't think about it too long because the comparison is repulsive. Let us now examine what is interesting about the date numerology further, also summing to 66 in light of Jesus and resurrection. Keep in mind, the 66th book of the Bible, Revelation, is about the return, a word having reduction gematria of 33, and when 33 is written out equates to 66 in gematria terms. So 3/27/2016 You add 3 plus 27 plus 20 plus 16 equates to 66. 3, 27, 16. 3 plus 27 plus 16 equates to 46. Resurrection equates to 66 in reduction. Made America Hate Again equates to 66, septenary cipher. Recall, Jesus has reduction gematria of 11, and 66 is the 11th triangular number. Let us now examine the fateful gematria of Easter Sunday. It yields another number, 44. Central Park, where the tomb was reportedly found, also has gematria of 119, corresponding with Donald, and all-seeing eye, as well as 47. So, in the satanic cipher, Central Park equates to 504, not far from 54. Again, Trump took office 54 years after a tombstone was made for JFK. And Central Park also equates to 504 in satanic. Wow. So, true to form, the mystery of who placed the tombstone in the park would be solved a span of 44 days later, or 1 month and 13 days, by the New York Times, a propaganda publishing service, and nothing more. Notice it was the date of May 9th, not unlike 59 when that occurred. As we have learned, the number 44 and 59 are connected to killing, and of course 59 is the 17th prime, the year Trump would take office in 17. Okay. Adding to the monumental mocking by the numbers was the name of a man who made it, a 70-year-old Frank Casara, having reduction gematria of 58 when S is counted for 10. Don't forget, Trump would take the White House at age 70, a good age for an agent of the Vatican, and more specifically, the Masonic Jesuit order within the church. Wow. Not long after, on the date of June 18, 2016, while campaigning in Las Vegas, Nevada, having ordinal gematria of 133, a number we learned about. Let me see what time. Okay, still got time. Okay, not long after the date of June 18, 2016, while campaigning in Las Vegas, Nevada, having ordinal gematria of 133, a number we learned about, Trump would have an assassination scare. This was precisely 143 days before the November 8th election and 144 days before the November 9th announcement. Recall, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equates to 143, and the number 144 corresponds with time, plus a history of assassinations. Also, for the record, Nevada and Ohio are the only two states with ordinal gematria of 47, the presidential number. Coinciding with this fact, the first Republican debate in the primaries was in Ohio, and the first Democratic debate was in Nevada, where the focus of the debate was Trump, which was the entire focus of everything in the media-driven world from the time Trump began running for president up until the publishing of this book. And as a reminder to how the media codes their headlines, let's decode the emphasized phrase, "wanted to shoot Donald Trump," as it hides the number 101, connecting to assassin, a word summing to 101 in ordinal. So, this headline right here, I will show it to you, where it shows President Trump there, and that is the story about the person who wanted to shoot Donald Trump. So let me read that real quick. U.S. election. Arrested Britain. What is his name? Arrested Britain. Wanted to shoot Donald Trump. And wanted to shoot Donald Trump is in quotation marks. So, a Briton, I guess he's from Britain, a Briton who tried to grab a police officer's gun at a Donald Trump rally in Las Vegas said he wanted to shoot Trump. That's some crazy shit. But anywho, wanted to shoot Donald Trump equates to 101 in reduction. Okay. Now, I am going to end my reading there on page 263, and I will continue later the story that is still dealing with Trump. But I hope you enjoy the reading. I hope you will purchase the book, and I hope you will also seek out other truth seekers that you can find on YouTube, and their channels are Simple Truth Television, Chagozi Truth, Kayla Decode Talker, Gematrinator 85, Dan Barrett. Who else can I mention here? Dr. Savage, Zenith of the Alpha. All of these people are doing their part in spreading this knowledge, and I hope that the part I'm doing as far as reading the book helps you to understand what is truly going on, and I hope that you will get this book. Get the book for yourself and read it. You know, letters and numbers and number games. Also, Simple Truth Television, he will be releasing a book called Gematria Murders, I believe, and that will be in 2021. But you know, a lot of people are waking up to what is truly taking place in this world. And it's not organic. These things are made up. It's crafted. I mean, what you do in your own everyday life, yes, that's organic, you know. And there is an organic side to this code. And as we progress through the book, we'll see that. But what else? Everything else that is going on, that is presented to us via media throughout history, it is not. These things are made up. I'm not saying people aren't being killed. I'm not saying that at all. It is a death cult. These people are killers, but it's done specifically at a certain time, on a certain day, in a certain way, and all of these things have to equate numerically. This is insane, and it really needs to stop. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I will be back later to upload part 5. I think this is part 4 that I've just uploaded, and if not, excuse me. But please enjoy the reading, give the video a like and a share, and have a good day. Thank you.